The sky is falling! The sky is falling! Not really. Let's get into it. Hey, how you doing, guys? Derek here from M1 Realty. I'm the broker, owner, founder of the company. Got our start here in 2014 in Ferndale, Michigan, and we've turned it into the largest real estate firm in the city of Ferndale. And we've got an all-star team of agents, whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, rent, whatever you need to do, we've got you covered. So I want to give my prediction for the next 3 to 6 months, where I kind of see the macro overall real estate market heading both nationally and locally, because really I don't really care that much about what happens nationally. It's more important to me what happens in our local market, but they're kind of tied together, so we'll get into them both here. So the biggest news financially here over the past few weeks has been, we've had a few bank failures where the banks made, the banks in question made some dumb moves and paid the price for it. But we've had that, and the Fed keeps raising interest rates. They just raised them another quarter point. So all in all, that isn't giving people the warm fuzzies. So let's talk about what is really going on in the market and see if we can make some sense of it. So long story short, I think it's possible that we could see home prices fall here in the short term, and there's a few different reasons for it. So let's get into it. I would expect to see this happen nationally, maybe locally. Less of a chance of it happening locally than nationally. But we'll talk about why here in a second. But as of today, the national average for a 30-year fixed rate conventional mortgage, according to bankrate.com, is 6.97%. Now the mortgage industry, they usually anticipate Fed rate hikes, and they price those in ahead of time. So I don't think this is anything that wasn't expected. People were thinking that maybe with a couple of bank failures and the banks actually taking it upon themselves to tighten up lending guidelines, that the Fed might not raise rates at all. I think they definitely still want to combat inflation. So until we have that completely down to about 2% year over year, we're going to continue to see them raise interest rates just a little bit at a time. But this is nothing that wasn't expected, I guess. But I think if it wasn't for those bank failures, I think they probably would have raised rates a little bit more than they did. That's just my opinion, and from what I've heard from from economists. I'm definitely not one, but I don't think that was anything that wasn't expected, and I think the markets have reacted pretty much favorably to the quarter point increase, because it could have been more. And where this is kind of counterintuitive, right? But I think, in my opinion, part of the reason why we didn't see more banks kind of go under, why we're seeing the banks being responsible and tightening up their guidelines on lending a little bit, is simply because the government this time around, when these first 2 or 3 banks went under, they kind of went the other direction from 2008. If you remember, in 2008, the people that lost their money were just kind of out left holding the bag. Too bad, so sad. The government bailed out the banks, but not the individual, public, not us. The banks got bailed out, we didn't. And in this instance, when these banks went under, the government went and made the depositors whole, and the banks are just completely out of business, or they were forced to be bought up by other banks, and the executives are all out of a job. Shocker of shockers, this has suddenly caused bankers to be a little bit more responsible with the way that they move money around. So, all in all, I think that's a good thing. But now for the reason why I still think that home prices might come down a little bit, is because the other thing that bankers are doing now as a result of this is they're tightening up their lending guidelines. So that has the effect of there's less liquidity in the market, so they're holding on to their money. They're not lending it out quite as much as they were, or their parameters for lending money have tightened up, so that's more of a sure bet when they do lend money. So the obvious result of this is there's going to be less liquidity in the market for the time being. And when there's less liquidity in the market, that means it's harder to get a loan, including a mortgage in some circumstances. So tightened up mortgage guidelines, if you're following me so far, means there's going to be potentially fewer pre-approved buyers out there than there have been just in recent years. And by no means I want to like compare this to 2008 and the years before that. Their mortgage guidelines, mortgage companies have gotten very, very responsible in the last 15 years compared to where they were, when people were putting mortgage applications in for their dog and getting their dog approved for a, $500,000 mortgage. I wish I was joking about that, but I'm not. That kind of nonsense hasn't happened since the whole world economy cratered in 2008. So we're not talking about anything like that. But every individual mortgage company has their own guidelines that they won't exceed like certain debt to income ratios, things like that. They want people to have a certain credit score, you name it. And if people exceed that, then there are companies that potentially would lend to them and at a higher interest rate or with more restrictions or whatever the case may be. So those people might just get declined now instead of the bank taking a chance on them. If there's a possibility of that banker losing their job if the bank goes under, they're gonna not take chances that they would take. But long story short, if there's fewer approved buyers out there, that just means that the houses that are on the market could potentially stay on the market longer. The longer a house stays on the market, that seller is going to reduce the price in order to get it sold. So with houses staying on the market longer, there's going to be more houses on the market, and the more houses there are that are on the market longer, reducing their price, well, it's going to bring the prices down, and the average sale price is going to be less than what it has been in the past couple of years. So long story short, this could lead to a temporary declining market in the spring and summer. Nationally, I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. Locally, I mean, that's kind of the million-dollar question. I think if it does happen here, the key word is temporary, because I've said this numerous times on numerous videos, but around here in our local market in Metro Detroit, inventory is driving the bus, or lack thereof. So, it almost doesn't matter what external forces are happening to the real estate market. If there's not enough houses to go around, people are going to keep bidding the prices up. Bottom line, supply and demand. So that's going to be the key. That's the number one thing that I'm keeping an eye on, and I'm checking every single day for inventory levels. As of right now, they've kind of steadied. They dipped a little bit this week from last week in most cities that we track, but not by a lot. So the level of inventory isn't going up at the moment, but it's not going down either too badly. And considering that we're just barely getting into the spring selling season right now, I would expect to see more inventory hit the market here very shortly. But again, I expected that last year and it didn't happen. So we'll see. We'll keep a very close eye on it and report back to you guys. But as always, if you do have any other questions, something I didn't get to, if you want to call me up and tell me I'm an idiot and I'm all wrong, and feel free. You can always reach out to me directly at 586-491-5622. I'm also available at 248-561-6155. Call or text anytime at either one of those numbers. My email is dwerenka@m1realty.net. I'm on Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. I'm easy to get a hold of and I'll answer quick. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I love making these videos and I love the feedback that we've been getting from them. So if there's ever anything I can help you out with, just say the word. That's what I'm here for. That's why I make these videos, so you guys know that I'm here for you. And yeah, that's it. Everybody have a great week. Look forward to talking to you soon, and have a great one. Thanks.